welcome back to Voice in Me, My Voice, My Choice, episode 10. I hope everyone's having a good week and a good weekend. So let's get started. Today's podcast is going to be focused on stuttering. There is more to it that meets the eye, ear. About 2 weeks ago, an article about Emily Blunt wanting to remove the unfair stigma of stuttering was the catalyst for me to start sharing my personal story. And I made the choice to start using my voice to talk about it more. And this week is no exception. So, what did I use my voice for? Living in Arizona has its advantages, but this week the desert got the better of me as it flared up my allergies and I was hit by the worst sinus infection ever. So finally on Friday, I relented and went to my doctor. In my mind, this was going to be a regular sick visit by getting checked up and hopefully getting some medication to get me feeling better soon. It definitely started off like that, but it turned into me sharing my voice. As I was waiting for my final lab papers, my doc and I were talking about the internet and how unsafe it can be and how so much sharing is happening. But how much of it is real and authentic versus just fake? So I shared with him that I'm also on social media, but to help others. And this is when I used my voice. So, how did I use my voice? I shared with my doctor about my initiatives, specifically about Voice in Me, and my reason for wanting to help others find their voice in similar situations. But at the core of it, being my stuttering. For almost half my life, living with it has been the toughest thing. What came next completely surprised me, in a good way. My doctor's eyes immediately lit up, and he said he could relate to it in so many ways. He talked about his brother, who stuttered most of his life, still does from time to time. He also mentioned his own challenges, not stuttering, but other challenges he had in his younger days. We both went on to share that deep down, the main reason it took his brother and similarly myself to find our voices was the lack of supportive environment that could give us confidence to overcome the challenges. His brother is now very successful, but only after he found an environment where he could build the confidence step by step to overcome stuttering. So you might be asking, why again, Naz? Why do you keep on talking about stuttering? Because this is very, very personal to me. If you were there back in a class with me, the day that we had to say speeches, the fear that gripped me was worse than I could ever imagine for a young child going through. What if I start talking and I can't even say a word, which happened from time to time? Or maybe I would be going into a fact or going into a very important part of it and I couldn't speak or I repeated certain letters, which did happen time to time as well. But the reason I am going to keep on talking about it and hopefully start helping the unfair stigma be removed is because no child, no person should fear sharing their voice. So was it the best choice in my doctor's office to be talking about all of this? I think it was the best choice because I was able to feel that, hey, I'm not the only one that did not have that supportive environment needed. There are others just like me. And this is how it felt for me personally. I felt like a reject. That because of my stuttering, I was loved less. But really, I was not the reject. I was just rejected from those who saw me less capable than themselves, but should have had the heart to be my supporters. My doctor then shared about how he went on to get his PhD in learning and speech challenges. And because of what him and his brother went through, he went on to help many others. He first started off in the education system, even before he became a doctor. He also shared some very interesting insights that I thought was thought provoking. But we couldn't get into more of it, and I had to leave. But before I left, I did want to ask him if he wanted to do a podcast. So I did. I shared with him it would be really good to hear from someone like him who has decades of experience on the topic of learning and speech challenges. And in my mind, as I waited for his answer, I was thinking there's no way he was going to say yes. And to my utter surprise, he did. But I also had to remember that he's not on social media. And he's rarely on the internet. So we spoke about how this will be a recorded podcast where it's not live. And we'll be able to go back and forth about key questions and challenges, expanding about stuttering and learning in different ways. But I'm excited to plan this podcast with him, as I think it will be insightful to have him share his expertise and experience. And hopefully that could help many others. What is the lesson I can share about all of this today? The lesson I can share is that sometimes being talkative or providing TMI, too much information, can be a valuable benefit. Everyone has a story that is relatable to the next person. But if we are not willing to share both the good and the not so good, how can we learn from each other or feel comfortable that, hey, I can also be daring in sharing my voice? I want to thank you all for the support as I continue this journey of finding ways to remove the unfair stigma of stuttering. And I hope that even if you are blessed to not have this challenge, that you have the empathy for others around you who do. So if you stutter or know of someone who does, I hope this helps you. And I hope you want to chat with me just for support. If you do, please go to my website, www.voiceinme.com. There's a menu item noted Coaching with Me. Select that, and there's a calendar where you can pick a time, and I will be willing to listen and hopefully try to find a way to help you. Thank you, everyone, for listening today. I hope you have a wonderful week ahead, and I hope you return to either listen to the podcast or read my blog on the website that will hopefully help others and you in finding ways with me to empower others and yourself in finding the best choice for your voice. Thank you for listening today. Take care. Goodbye.